Again, this was a horrific case with victims. I find that, in particular, vehicular homicide is one of the most preventable crimes that occurs. Especially, it's one that puts more innocent and just every possible member of the community at risk just based on everyone is driving on the roads, as opposed to people who maybe put themselves in situations that they shouldn't be in.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a man who in 2008 slammed into the back of a car, killing a little boy and maiming his younger brother, who was just 4 at the time. Now, what we're seeing in the news today are some highlighted cases that grab media attention. For example, the Instagram model Macy Leathers out of Miami, who just killed 2, or Sean Higgins, who killed a hockey star and his brother the day before the wedding. But what happens when you have a case that doesn't catch media's attention, where there aren't newspapers writing articles about it because it's just not that interesting? Well, that's part of why we do this. We do this so that we can bring light and we can bring coverage to the reality and the dangers of DUI. And before we watch this 2024 parole hearing, we are going to take a blast to the past, to the 2020 hearing, his original hearing that he had. And it is a Mr. Mirabella classic, which I find to be quite fitting, taking into account the crime committed. I'll unpack it with the details at the end.
Joseph Landry, DOC number 509060, second class offender, vehicular homicide, habitual, first degree vehicular negligent injury, sentenced to 42.5 years DOC, 6.5 years DOC. Parole date 2/17/2019, good time 11/4/2053, and full term 10/30/2054. Does that sound correct?
That sounds about right.
You just answer Mr. Mirabella, please.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Mirabella, please.
Okay. Mr. Landry, tell me a little bit about the programs that you've done while you've been in prison.
About the first 5 years, I enrolled in a theology class. It was like a college course. It was a study of the Bible. I graduated with associates. I finished the bachelor's, but something happened with Dr. John, and he wasn't able to continue coming to the prison I was in. So I didn't receive the diploma on that one. I also I got about 3 years in on a School of Faith program, and from there I went to work at prison industry, building cabinets and bookcases and other office furniture. I was kind of limited to the programs I could take because due to my time. But I was able to participate in the Living in Balance class, and I took the pre-release over here at DCI. So
Tell me a little bit about your previous drug and alcohol use. How long did you start using? How old were you when you started using drugs?
well, I was kind of a late bloomer. I probably started when I was in my 30s. I started taking pain pills for my back. I didn't realize how addictive it was. But that kind of grew out of control real fast.
How about drinking?
Yeah, I drank occasionally. I was never a big drinker, but just beer here and there.
How many times were you arrested for alcohol-related offenses?
I was arrested for a lot of drug possessions back, and that's what my whole arrest record is from, drug possession.
Well, how about DWI back in '95?
Yeah, I had a DUI, yes, sir.
Well, was that drinking? Was that drugs? What was that?
Well, it was a little bit of both.
So when did you start using? You said you were a late bloomer. What kind of drugs were you using initially?
Well, I didn't really use drugs back in my 20s. It was really in my 30s. I drank a little bit here and there back in my 20s, but the drugs, the pills and that really came on the scene in my 30s.
And how long did you use the drugs? Did you ever get any kind of treatment outside of prison?
No, sir. I wanted to get help. I didn't like the way the direction my life was going in. I really didn't. But I just didn't. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to go about getting help.
What programs have you taken involving substance abuse while you've been in prison?
I signed up as soon as I got here, so I signed up for whatever substance abuse class that came up, which one I could get in first. I signed up for it. But before that, I was kind of, like I said, I was limited over there at Allen because there really wasn't a whole lot of substance abuse classes over there.
Well, tell me which ones you did take. That's what I'm interested in, not the ones you didn't, the ones you did take.
Well, the
Tell
one
me
I
what
took
you
would probably be the living in balance class. So that was a 6-month class, and it was pretty much recovering from drugs.
And when did you take that?
I took that in 2016, maybe 2017.
How about AA or NA classes? Have you done any of those?
I did that for 6 months, and I stopped going. It was
Why is that?
it was real depressing for me. Real
What do you
depressing.
mean real depressing?
Well, it just kept reminding me of my past, and a lot of guys were getting up there, and it seemed to me like they were glorifying their past, and I was ashamed of my past. So I was ashamed.
Well, what does AA and NA mean to you? What does that program mean to you in terms of assisting you to giving you the tools to stay off of drugs and alcohol?
Well, I mean, the one I had attended, it was more or less guys just speaking openly of about their addictions and how they was living with the addictions and some of the things they did while they was going through the addiction.
Well, you know, you're in jail because you killed a young man and you horribly injured another person. Tell me how, if you're asking me to vote to let you out early, how can I be convinced that you're not going to go back out there and do drugs and do alcohol and get behind the wheel of a vehicle and do something just like this again?
Well, I could tell you this, sir. I believe in order for a man to change, he has to want to change and he has to desire a change. And I was ashamed of what I came to prison for. And that shame giving me a desire to change, and I pursued that change, sir.
All right, you feel shame, but what tools are you going to use to make sure that you don't do drugs again? You don't like AA meetings or NA meetings because they depress you. What sort of tools or what sort of things are you going to do to make sure to convince me to vote to let you out that you're not going to go do this again?
Well, I'm not going to be around people that was doing the things I was doing. That's for one. The desire is gone. I mean, I have 12 years. I've been practicing. I've been retraining my mind to think.
The desire for what is gone?
The desire for drugs. I don't desire that lifestyle anymore.
Do you know how many drug addicts say things like that?
Well, I can't
The
speak.
desire
I
is
can speak
gone?
for me.
I'm sorry?
I can't speak for them.
Well, I'm asking you
I'm sure most of them.
today. Well, let me stop you. What are you going to do from a positive perspective that will convince me to vote to let you out, other than telling me I ain't going to do it again? I feel shame. I'm not going to go to A meetings because they depress me. Why should I vote to let you out when you're not giving me any material to believe that you're going to have the tools to change?
So I will do what's necessary. If it takes going to AA meetings, I will. It's just the way some of the ones were ran in here. I don't think all of them's like that. Whatever I have to do, sir, whatever it is, whatever programs, rehabs, or whatever, I'm willing to put myself through it.
That's all the questions I have, I think.
Mr. Jones,
Thank you. Mr. Landry, tell me about your crime.
Tell you about my crime.
Yep.
Okay. I was driving, sir, when I shouldn't have been driving.
Why?
Why?
Why shouldn't you have been driving?
Because I had the medication in my system, and I didn't realize that I had too much to where it may cause me to fall asleep at the wheel.
Well, plus you had enough alcohol to qualify for a DWI, didn't you?
No, sir, I didn't have alcohol in my system.
I thought it was 0.08. Am I thinking about a different case? I apologize to you if I am. No alcohol in your system, right?
No, sir.
All right. So what were you taking?
I was taking methadone and Xanax.
Okay. And what happened?
Well, I was going to the hardware store to work on a trailer where I was living at. I made it to the hardware store. On the way back, I kind of fell asleep behind the wheel and ran into the back of a car that killed an innocent person and severely hurt another one. I wish it would have been me taking that day. Wish it would have been me.
Well, that's not how it works. That's all the questions I had.
so if you were released early, what's your plans?
Well, I have a good support system. I have Miss Wanda and Aunt Sandra, who's been here with me for quite a few years now. And she's got some work for me to do, a place for me to stay until I reestablish my own self. So
What kind of work you gonna do?
I do carpentry work, remodel bathrooms, remodel houses.
Warden Booty, you have any input there from the facility?
He's been with me since November 2019. He's had no disciplinary report since he's been here. He's presently working in the chair assembly plant.
All right. Okay, let's see if we can get a statement from supporters. You want to go with Ms. Ruiz first, Leah? Like to have maybe Ms. Ruiz can make a statement. You want to speak?
Yes, sir. I'm Ginger Roy. I'm speaking on behalf of Miss Ruiz. I'm just
Okay.
a family friend.
Go ahead,
I
Ginger.
just wanted to add that I've known Joe for many years now, and I truly believe he's fully reformed and ready to make a positive contribution to our society. He takes full responsibility for what he's done. He's incredibly sorry, and while he's remorseful for his mistakes, he has always been a very positive encouragement to our family. He's always full of hope to us. He spent his time expanding his education, growing spiritually. I believe that today he is a different man than who he was when he first went in. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And do we have one more member in support that would like to speak? No? Okay. So now we have victims. Would a victim like to make a statement? Is it Miss Keisha? Is that who's next? Can somebody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. State your name and relationship and go ahead and make your statement.
My name is Keisha Hart. I am the aunt to Chandler and Logan. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, take a breather.
But I submitted an 8-page letter to y'all already.
Right.
And after listening to what Mr. Landry has had to say, I stand by my statement where he's not remorseful at all. He has shown no signs of getting treatment. I mean, he's ashamed, but he doesn't want to take responsibility and complete any kind of AA meetings or anything. He's not doing anything. He gets in there, he finds Jesus. He should have found before he went in, and none of this would have happened.
So this is Chandler.
This is Chandler.
Tell the man
Look.
hi. Look right here.
He was 3 years old at the time of the accident,
Correct.
or
The crash.
the crash, and he suffers from multiple disabilities. He wears a helmet due to the seizures he suffers. The brain injury he suffered, he has basically like a stroke. His left side is weak. He has no use of his left arm. He walks with a limp because just basically the injuries. At first, they told us he would never walk or talk again. He did.
Where do you want to go?
He has been through so many surgeries and so many more to come. He is also having grandma seizures that they're trying to get him into a facility in Tennessee to see what we can do to find out about getting these under control, because in the last
2 months.
it's been about 4 or 5 months. They have gotten
Really
a
bad.
lot worse. So now they're trying to get him into a hospital. So he is facing multiple medical issues every day of his life
And more surgeries.
due to Landry's actions. And he can't even take the time out to complete an AA meeting or a program.
Chandler can't even manage to go to school.
And yeah, Chandler is no longer in school because of the seizures. He is staying home. They can't,
He stays in the bed.
he can't walk much. When he walks without help, he falls. He's in and out of the hospital from his falls, his injuries, broken arms, broken toe, whatever, busted nose. He just
Nose,
busted
busted his
lip.
lip.
Multiple things. And of course, there's Logan. Was 5 years old. We missed out on everything.
Be going about his first car show.
He just turned 17.
Yeah, he would have been 17 this year. So we missed out on a lot. And again, he feels ashamed. Well, shame just doesn't cut it. And I have a few pictures I'd like to share, just of stuff that we have, Chandler has went through in the hospital at the time of the crash. And just to show what he did and what he looked like. Of course, we don't have anything of Logan from the hospital.
Not sure if you can see that.
Yeah. This is Chandler. Chandler had to have a piece of his bone removed. To release the pressure. He had a broken femur. Shut that door, please.
Yeah, it's messing up. Look,
He had a broken femur bone, lacerated liver. I don't know.
go ahead.
And
Right.
this is a picture that'll show that his bone was, well, not so great. This is one of the last pictures we have of Logan and Chandler together. This was our Logan, our little country boy. And this is what we have to look at now. And
All right, thank you.
this is our last picture of Logan.
Okay,
That's what we have.
all right. Thank you, Keisha. All right, we have another speaker, Ms. Kelly. Are you want to make a statement?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kelly Dare, and I'm a victim services specialist with Mothers Against Drunk Driving. On July 4th, 2008, Logan Woodruff was killed and Chandler Woodruff was severely injured because Joseph Landry chose to drive impaired. They were innocent children whose death and injuries were 100% preventable. Logan was only 5 when his life was taken away. He is greatly missed and sincerely loved by family and friends. Chandler was only 3 years old at the time, and his life has been forever changed due to Mr. Landry's decisions. Obviously concerned about his own presumed needs, Mr. Landry had no care for the danger he presented to innocent victims that day. Whether he thought he could make it driving impaired or whether he just didn't care is of no consequence. What matters is that he got behind the wheel, started the engine, and proceeded to kill one innocent child and permanently injure another. For the sake of justice and a safer society, and to respect the wishes of the victims and survivors of this crash, Mothers Against Drunk Driving respectfully asks that you do not grant parole to Mr. Landry. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Landry, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
No, so I'm all right.
Okay. Is the panel prepared to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Marabella?
In reviewing the file in black and white is one thing. To see pictures and to hear the suffering of the family for this senseless crime is another thing. Speaking with Mr. Landry, he has taken some substance abuse classes. In my opinion, he has not done sufficient classes or recognizing his addiction to be released. He doesn't want to go to AA meetings. Mr. Jones can probably elaborate a little more on that. But I don't believe that he has, number one, served enough time. He's doing a 42-year sentence. He's been in jail, I think, for 12 years. His history of alcohol and drug offenses, the fact that he has not sufficiently accepted responsibility and that he has not done sufficient work to justify being released on parole and not going back to using drugs, I would vote to deny his parole.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Leonard, let me say first of all that I know you didn't intend to hurt anybody. And that means something. But the misery you caused is no different than if you had meant to do it. What you didn't mean to do is to drive a car, a dangerous instrumentality, knowing that you weren't really capable of doing it. And the truth is, people do that every day, sadly. Few people are quite as unlucky as you. But you were unlucky and you were wrong. And the result is the destruction that we heard witness to. As to AA meetings, Mr. Landry, I've been to hundreds of them, hundreds. Some of them are depressing. They are. And occasionally you hear people talk, and probably it's worse in prison, they want to glorify their drug use or their alcohol use. And your job is not just to walk out and say it's not a very good program. Your job is to figure out a way to make it work, because it's the only proven program that successfully treats alcoholism and drug abuse. My advice to you is to get your hands on what we call the big book. It's a book called Alcoholics Anonymous. Doesn't cost very much. Your family can send you a copy and read it, and then read it again. And if necessary, if you need to start your own meetings, ask prison officials, ask the warden, whatever you need to do, and do that yourself. Show us that you have the resolve to make certain this never can happen again. Until then, my vote is to deny your parole.
Mr. Landry, you have 2 votes to deny your parole. I'm too, I'm going to deny your parole today due to victim opposition, law enforcement opposition.
Mr. Kelsey,
Yes.
we lost DCI.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I've been
I was
texting.
afraid of that.
Nobody's been responding.
Who are you texting?
But we'll keep going. We will. He has 3 votes to deny his parole due to his law enforcement opposition, victim opposition, needs more programming, and lack of remorse. So 3 votes to deny his parole's been denied. Thanks.
And again, what is absolutely, redundant with these vehicular homicide cases is someone who just doesn't seem to have empathy. I don't know how we get those. Like, you can say, hey, accidents can happen, terrible mistakes can be made, but wouldn't that person then have some empathy? But we see this time and time again. I actually just covered the case out of Utah, Kelsey Pope. She killed 2 driving back from a Coachella concert. She went to a Coachella concert, she got blasted, like who wouldn't? And then driving on the highway back home, killed a mother and a son. And it's an incredibly controversial case. She only got 10 years for it, and up for parole after 5. I did that parole hearing, but I'm having major YouTube problems with it that are unexplainable. I don't need to get into the drama, but I'm not posting it on YouTube. What I did is I posted it on my other accounts, which I'll have as the backup worst case scenario account. I opened up a Rumble. I have it on X, and I also have it on, I know this is a little weird for me to say, but I finally opened up a TikTok and it's there. So if you want to see this parole hearing, it's 50 minutes long. I invested quite a lot of time into this, into the hearing. We have body cam footage at the accident. We have body cam footage of her inside the police station. There was major misjustices. So I'll put the links to those in the description below. And again, these are about creating backup channels because things happen on YouTube. So I don't even want to jinx it, but it's happened before and it can happen again. So it's important to build those other channels. But I'm getting, we're all sick and tired of these DUI cases and how your heart cannot break for watching this little boy and how he just seems to have no empathy at all. And the irony of his supporter, Ginger, standing there with a little baby. It's like, come on, have some decency. Just turn your camera off, something. Don't, like, how can you do that? I don't know. Some people are just tone deaf, I think. And Keith Jones, I know the statement there. I like Keith. I happen to like him, but his statement there about the only known proven model. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would disagree with that, but it is what it is. I'm sure he can argue his point well. Classic Marabella hearing. We're going to fast forward to 2024, and let's see how he's changed his pitch at all, right, for this hearing, and let's see if it works. With that, let's jump in.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Landry, would you like to address the board?
Yes, ma'am. I have a past that involved drugs. I made some bad decisions. I hurt some innocent people. I was weak. I was weak to substance abuse. I was so in it, I couldn't see the damage that I was doing. I couldn't see the danger that was up ahead. I remember going to one of my court dates, and court-appointed lawyer came to see me. He laid out some pictures. When he laid out the pictures, it was a picture of a little kid. Little kid in a hospital bed. Tubes, wires, machines hooked to him. And I was like, oh God, what have I done? What have I done? I hated me. I hated being who I was. And I still deal with the shame and the guilt. Every day I think about the people that I hurt. I think about that. I can't escape those thoughts. But I remember going back to my dorm after that, and I see this man came up to me. He came up to me and he said, son, you need to surrender to Jesus. And I'm like, who's Jesus? I didn't know who Jesus was. I was reading the Bible and I didn't know who Jesus was. So later that night, that's what I did. I surrendered. It didn't change nothing. My circumstances stood the same, but there was something in me that shifted. I had a desire to know who Jesus was. And from that point on, I began to study the Bible. I began to study scriptures, my obedience to the scriptures. I got involved in programs, and those programs have helped me. They've helped me be a better person. They helped me be aware of how the decisions, how they affected other people. And I'm so sorry for the lives that I hurt, all those people that I affected. I am, but I'm not that person anymore. I got like 17 years of rehab in. This place, prison, has been rehab for me. Through this, I have retrained myself how to live. I think every day about the decisions that I made, how the drugs played a part in this, how the lives that I hurt because of my addiction. I was weak to it. I take full responsibility. I wish I could have gained control, but it had me. It had me, man. But I'm stronger. I'm stronger now. And I develop a hate. I got a hate for that lifestyle. Every day I think about people's lives that have changed because I couldn't control my addiction. And so I'll develop a hatred towards that type of stuff. I know I'm not going back to that type of lifestyle. I'm not. I wrestle with the shame and guilt every day. I'm not going back to that. I'm not that person no more.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your comment. We have several people who want to speak in opposition today. The first person we're going to ask is the grandmother of the victim, Patricia Woodruff, and she is here at headquarters. And so if you'll just go to the podium and address the panel. About 3 minutes or so.
I'm Chandler's grandmother, my daughter, Emmy. With all that has happened back on that July 4th, took away our 5-year-old. Kirk Chandler, and his whole life has been in hospitals, doctors, surgery, seizures. Took away his childhood, took away his teen years, took away his adult years. And he will always need his mom to take care of him. And there's not a day that don't go by. He don't want his brother. I have seen him take his good hand If they can't use the left, I've seen him beat his mom and beg and cry to go to heaven to get hungry. And all because of choices that was made. And it was a habitual offender choice. It wasn't just the first time. And I do believe it's gonna happen again. I really do. Within 6 months, he's gonna be back because he's gonna offend again. And I ask you, he was sentenced to 48 years. Let him serve it because my son, grandson, and my daughter, they're gonna serve. They're subject to this until the day they die. They don't get a reprieve, they don't get parole, they don't get probation. And it's all day, every day with Chandler. And he's doing massive surgery on his head again. Spent a whole year in a helmet because they had to remove the bone back again. And he's on a feed because he doesn't eat very well, so mom has to give him the milk when he don't eat. I said, their life is, that's it. I ask you, don't let him go, please.
Thank you for your comments. We also have Keisha Hart, the aunt of Chandler, and
Keisha, Chandler, and Logan's aunt. My mom pretty much summed it up. He talks a lot about the kids, he did it last time during the hearing. But at that time, he hadn't participated in anything. He doesn't even address, I know he's not allowed to address the correct, he has never showed any remorse to us, to his victim here, to anyone. So I really don't think we should yell. Yeah, I really, yeah, like my mom said, he's an habitual offender. Yes, he has served almost 17 years. Like you see, he won't do it again. There's no proof of that, and if you let him out now, and he does it again, he's gonna have another family. I just want to see that. No one should have to do what we do every day.
thank you.
Chandler. I mean, we brought him here today because we can talk about it. But you see the damage he has done, you can see it Chandler every day. Yeah, he didn't have a chance to live like everyone else. His life is in a wheelchair. Because of those actions, his choices, what he chose to do, what he continued to choose. He had done this previously, or he would not have been a visual offender. I don't think it has changed. I can talk, anybody can talk a good game, but I don't believe him. Do not believe him at all.
Thank you so much for your comments. I do want to note for the record, Emmy and Daniel, the mother and father of the victim, are in the hearing today. Also, Father Charlie Woodruff. We are going to listen to Brett Summer, 21st JDC and Assistant DA.
Good morning. I'm with the DA's office in Livingston. We wanted to come and support the victims and voice our opposition. Again, this was a horrific case with victims. I find that in particular, vehicular homicide is one of the most preventable crimes that occurs. Especially, it's one that puts more innocent and just every possible member of the community at risk, just based on everyone is driving on the roads, as opposed to people who maybe put themselves in situations that they shouldn't be in. And ultimately, in this case, the judge at the time rendered this sentence based on all the facts in front of him to grant him early release at parole would be an intervening act on y'all's behalf without the consent of anyone else. I think the judge rendered an appropriate sentence, and because of that and the victim's testimony before you today, we would ask that you would deny his parole.
Thank you, sir. And Tamika White is also from your office joining us, but is not going to be speaking. At this time, the case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Well, Mr. Tillis, you'll proceed.
DA, he spoke, the DA just spoke, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Landry, my name is Chuck Tillis, and I've gone through your case, read it several times, and I'm glad that you're trying to change and better yourself. So, and I've listened to you on your statement here now. So I have no more questions or any questions.
Mr. Barra?
I see in the file, there's notes that says you had been involved in a prior accident that killed your sister-in-law? Can you tell? What?
I don't know. That new to me. I haven't
Okay.
involved with a wreck that killed my sister-in-law.
Have involved in any other accidents where anybody got killed?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. That's the only question I had.
Mr. Landry, I think the panel is prepared to vote. Mr. Tillis?
My vote is to deny, considering the DA's decision and strong opposition of the family.
Mr. Barra?
I'm gonna also vote to deny based on that you've only served 31% of your sentence, which is not much. For a case like this that involved two victims and one is deceased and the other one permanently disabled. So the 31% is really not enough time to even be considered.
My vote is also to deny based on those reasons. I would encourage you to continue your good conduct because you do have an opportunity to write back, and laws have changed, so you need to be conduct right up free for 3 years. But your case has been denied today, and we wish you well.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. All right.
Yeah, he didn't stand a chance at parole. So what did we see differently here? I mean, for one, I don't see any of his supporters in the room. I wonder what happened to them. Where did Ginger go? And two, you know, what's quite interesting is we had the DA show up. Now, it wasn't, you know, it's nice to see the DA. First time seeing him. I've seen him a few more times since then. You might start to recognize him. Thankfully, he's there. Maybe it's this new administration, this new parole board that is making it known that they want to see the DA there. Thankfully, the DA showed up. You can tell that he didn't seem he was very invested in the case, knew much about it, but he made a statement. Then you have Joseph that really just, I mean, I felt like he came in with a strategy of, okay, I need to make sure that they know that I had empathy. So he shares the story about how his lawyer showed the picture of the child with the wires. What have I done? What have I done? I mean, completely forgetting to mention that he also killed a child. So, I mean, it just it didn't feel authentic at all. And also he kind of messed up. I thought, you know, if he had wanted any chance of parole, assuming that Mr. Maribel and Keith Jones were on his panel, that he would have brought up the whole AA and he would have preached about that. But I didn't really hear that. I just heard programs and God and how he's never going to go back to that lifestyle again. Not what steps he's done, how he's going to do it. None of that. A very bad parole hearing, thankfully. Another bad performance by Tillis. Tillis seemed to completely not listen to the DA talking. He said at the end there, "Did he speak yet?" And I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Tillis. It's hard to really wrap your mind around the consistent blunders. And you know, again, in just the past month, we've had so many tragic news blasted vehicular homicides, and then you have a case like this, which has not happened that long ago. Time goes by fast, but when you think about it, the odds that someone could be getting paroled for doing this, and like I said, we just covered Kelsey Pope from Utah, and she's only getting 10 years for killing a mother and a son. So it's important that these type of cases don't get lost in the annals of history, right? Where people don't have support. You know, the DA showed up this time, didn't show up last time, but here it is. These little babies, lives forever changed, families forever changed because of this, you know, selfish punk. A man who admitted to the judge in Livingston Parish that he was on narcotics when he crashed into the back of the car, killing a child, also apologized to the family, but said the words mean nothing to the apologies. Joseph pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide and first-degree vehicular negligence and injury. It was a teary morning inside the courtroom as the victim's family relived the accident that killed Logan Woodruff, 5, and severely injured his younger brother. The family's mother says a mother's heart once had two parts. Now one part is missing. Just remembering Logan's life now that we won't have him, said Keisha Hart, the boy's aunt. Pictures of Logan Woodruff showing him as smiling, happy little boy. Chandler, now 5, is feeding a feeding tube in a wheelchair and unable to walk. As he left the courthouse, the handcuffs, Joseph Landry said that he was sorry for the family. He's sorry for the family and his own family. He said he was under the influence of methadone when he plowed into the back of the car where the brothers were sitting. Chandler spent 6 weeks in the hospital. Just one day after the accident, the boy's mother had to make the decision to take Logan off the ventilator. I can't believe a hospital will make a mother make that decision within 24 hours. It's like, you know, it's a whole different conversation. Since then, the family says that Chandler has asked his mother for his Lolo. He tells you, let's go to heaven. Oh, he asks mother for his Lolo. He says, he tells you, let's go to heaven. He thinks heaven is a place like Walmart. We can just go to him. He doesn't understand heaven is forever, and we heard that today. Landry told the mother in court that we're sorry for what happened. As he wiped tears away, he told them as he has kids the same age as the boys he's hurt too. Hart says it's impossible for Landry to know how he's hurt the family. No, he can't because he has kids. My sister does not. Landry's first charge of vehicular homicide carries a life to 30 years. And again, it's just what's shocking is how it seems that there's like this lack of empathy. People can make major blunders in their life, but it's how they act afterwards, which I think sends the picture. And make sure to check out those. I'll put the links in the description if you want to see that Utah hearing. It's on X, it's on TikTok, and it's on TikTok, and it's on. I opened up a Rumble account. Can you believe it? Finally, I don't. You know, check it's. I wish I could share it with you on YouTube, but I'm having weird problems with that for some reason that I don't want to get into. And what else can I say? Thank you, Sir Richard, for matching up the hearings, making it possible, easy for us to do both these hearings together. If you want to see more hearings like this where there's returns, there's a playlist. It's called the Return Of playlist. And with that, I'll let you go.
They were innocent children whose death and injuries were 100% preventable. Logan was only 5 when his life was taken away. He is greatly missed and sincerely loved by family and friends. Chandler was only 3 years old at the time, and his life has been forever changed due to Mr. Landry's decisions. Obviously concerned about his own presumed needs, Mr. Landry had no care for the danger he presented to innocent victims that day. Whether he thought he could make it driving impaired or whether he just didn't care is of no consequence. What matters is that he got behind the wheel, started the engine, and proceeded to kill one innocent child and permanently injure another. For the sake of justice and a safer society, and to respect the wishes of the victims and survivors of this crash, Mothers Against Drunk Driving respectfully asks that you do not grant parole to Mr. Landry. Thank you.